Good evening and welcome to another exciting episode of the Co-Opticast. This is episode 84. I'm your host for the evening, Jason Origami Panther Love, and joining me tonight are three city boys born and raised in South Detroit, and they are
This is Mr. Locke, and this is my favorite podcast on the internet.
This is Mr. Mike, and Locke stole my joke.
And this is
Yes.
Mr. Nick, and this is the only podcast on the internet.
If only our numbers supported that theory. All right.
Numbers
So
dropped.
we're gonna kick We're gonna kick things off tonight, like we do with all of our Co-Opticast, with a little segment called "What You've Been Playing." And Locke, go ahead and kick it off.
Oh, all right. Well, we've been doing a little mobile gaming, so I'll get those out of the way. Not gonna lie, I fell into not the Angry Birds trap, but I got the draw something fever, and I've been playing asynchronous Pictionary with about 10 people at once, and it's really fun. And if you weren't paying attention, they got bought out by Zynga for like $200 million or something, but
180.
So
Yeah.
that's a lot of money for a cool little app. But yeah, it's neat. The reason I wanted to bring it up is because it is essentially a co-op game, because you are not trying to outsmart the person you're drawing against, or with, I guess you could say. You're trying to get them to guess it, and it's a cool way that I think games are sort of leaning towards, especially co-op games where you want to help each other out, and and it's really neat to see in a turn-based sort of model. So let's draw something. It's a buck, and you'll easily get your buck's worth, because you'll get such clues as the Wu-Tang Clan, which is a lot of fun to draw.
Yes, it was. I also am playing Draw Something.
Oh, we got to get some games going, because I like playing against people who are actually good or really, really bad. It's always funny just to see what people come up with. I'll have
Black.
Yeah.
Whole black.
But I'm sure, Mike, you can come up with some fantastic drawings.
Yeah, I've had my share of good ones.
But and then
He was
another
known as the Armchair King in our circles because he would draw an armchair in 5 seconds.
Less than 5 seconds, sir.
Oh wow,
That's what she said.
No.
zing! And then the other game, which I've been playing on the iPad. You guys are making me hot here, and that's why this game is appropriate, because it's called Fingle.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that one.
You have to tinkle Fingle.
You have to tinkle the Fingle. It is a cooperative.
How about some Pringles Fingle?
Well, the tagline is, it's like the Barry White of iPad games. And
What?
as soon as you boot it up, it's got this like sexy porn music to it, and it's hilarious, and it's $2
Okay.
on the iPad. And what you do is you have to.
Doesn't matter what you do anymore, Locke.
What?
It's called Fingle.
this is
You
a
said it's
legitimate
got Barry
game.
White music to it. I'm not sure it matters what this game's actually about now.
Well, I
No,
know that.
I have to hear what this game's about.
Okay, so you'll have to start the game. You have to put two sort of squares, 2 fingers on squares, and then put them together and hold them there, and then for like 3 seconds, and then the screen will flash, and that means it's ready to go. And it's a puzzle game, a co-op puzzle game. If you think of it's sort of like Twister, but the parts are moving, and you have to. One puzzle is a person will have their fingers like that, and they'll have to hold them on there, and the other person has to follow the moving dot, which it appropriately goes.
Look at that! There it is!
and
you just got fingled.
and you just got fingled. So if that's not a selling point, I don't know what is. But it's a really entertaining game. The wife and I play it every night before bed.
Oh, I bet
Sure
you
you
do.
do.
I bet you do, sir.
And you know what? One thing could lead to another. Who knows? But it's really cool.
Don't
It's
want to know.
Strategic fingling.
Yes.
And-
Well, you can get into the 4 Fingle, or if you want to grab a couple other hands and work it into there. It's
a menage a Fingle?
yeah, the foursome Fingle. I don't know, but it's a really cool idea, and they execute it really well. It's got a great sense of humor, and it's a cool little co-op puzzle game. So check it out. $2
Right.
on the iPad.
I got a challenge for you now, Locke. You got to
Sure.
write up the next co-op couples about Fingle
It'll.
Yeah.
keep it as clean as possible.
Oh, I was gonna say I could do a video review of it and see how that goes.
There we go.
I think you need to challenge yourself to use Fingle as both a noun, an adjective, and a verb.
I will do that by the end of the podcast. And then just some more Mass Effect multiplayer, a lot more shoot many robots, because that game is so addicting with the loot. It's making me want to play Diablo. But having a lot of fun with that. I know a couple people I know picked it up, so we're playing on a regular basis. And then just it's addicting with being able to go back and replay levels and not feel like you're wasting your time. Because I know sometimes when you've played through a game and then you want to go play with a friend and you've already done a part, that is kind of a drag. But in this, it doesn't matter, because you're always unlocking new guns. You're always getting more experience and more levels. That's a really nice aspect to it. So
What's the craziest and or best loot that you've gotten so far?
I really like the
There's only one answer for this, Locke. Don't blow it.
It's a trick question.
There's this backpack with robots on it.
Yeah.
No, it's actually I forgot, because I remember we saw it at PAX and I forgot what it did, but it's actually a really good item to have. Like it does awesome damage, and it makes it so when you get resurrected, it's not a big, you get full life, which is really important in the later levels. So that's good. But yeah, shoot many robots. I can't say enough good things about that.
Can you say robots again?
Robots, nuts, robots.
Robot!
Anyways, these aren't the droids you're looking for.
Alright.
Long.
So, moving along, Mike, what have you been playing?
I was on a business trip, so I primarily played
Fingle.
Draw Something.
by himself,
Actually, he was at DrupalCon, which is something that sounds like what you get after too much fingling, but anyways.
Yeah, it sounds kind of like a obscure Belgian STD. No, so I played a lot of Draw Something, but on the plane ride I played Radiant Historia. It was a really solid JRPG from about this time last year that went out of print in about 5 minutes because it's an Atlas release, and I ended up not getting it. It went on a lightning sale at Amazon for a while, and I didn't spring for it, and so I missed it. And Atlas actually announced earlier this year that they were doing a reprint of it, so I managed to get on the reprint bandwagon.
Mm-hmm.
So I checked that out. It's pretty. It harkens back to like 16-bit JRPGs in like all the right ways. You can actually follow the plot. For starters, that's a pretty big bonus. But it's got a lot of really nice sprite art, and it's got kind of a fun little time travel-y alternate dimension story, which is really fun. Starts off a bit slow, but it really picks up. So I've been playing that, and I played through Journey,
Nice.
which we're going to talk about later. I will just say that is, I think, come year's end, it is going to probably make my list when we do the awards, and I'm not sure exactly how we're going to deal with that because it is such a non-traditional co-op game.
Yeah.
And but we'll see. That's a ways off. And I noticed that Dungeon Siege 3, actually the entire Dungeon Siege series was $10 on Steam yesterday. So I picked up Dungeon Siege 3.
As did I. We will
And
do
it
some
is
sieging.
it's pretty fun. It's definitely different than the first two games, but I'm liking it so far. I've only probably played like an hour and a half of it. Maybe I'm not sure about the character class I picked, but she seems pretty fun so far.
So that's
It's
a fire blaster.
the
Yeah,
girl
she's-
with guns.
Yeah, she's pretty fun. It's different for that kind of a game.
Yeah. Well, because that was the character I ended up playing a lot in Torchlight, was the hunt, whatever they called the hunter character.
Right.
And I liked that, so I thought it would be a fun way to play. And
Nice.
that's really about it for
Cool.
me.
Nick?
I played a little bit of Mass Effect 3 Co-op Friday night for our co-op night, which was a lot of fun. We actually had a really good turnout for that.
I
and got to-
honestly played with 4 different groups. It was
Yeah.
it was crazy.
Yeah, I ended up playing with 2 different groups, and both the sets were, they were really awesome guys. Well, we played that first set
Yeah.
together,
Yeah, that was good.
and then I hung around with those guys for a little bit, and then I went on to another group, and yeah, they were all really good guys. We had a lot of fun. So yeah, that's about all I got to play that. And then the only other game I've been playing is Ninja Gaiden 3
I'm sorry.
for review. And yeah, I guess I'm a fan of the series. I beat both Ninja Gaiden 1 and 2, and only broke 1 or 2 controllers in that process. But Ninja Gaiden 3 is like such a step backwards. It just, like, 2 had a whole bunch of like different weapons and stuff, and you can upgrade powers, and it just, the combat was really satisfying. And in 3, you just have the sword and you have the explosive bow. And then the combat, it's just rinse and repeat style stuff. Yeah, every once in a while they'll throw in like a armored enemy or something like that you'll have to jump on or mix it up. And there's a few new moves and stuff, but overall it just...
I actually saw someone claim that Asura's Wrath is a better action game than Ninja Gaiden 3.
It's just like...
Asura's
Like,
Wrath,
it almost
which is...
feels like a Dynasty Warriors game in terms of like the combat. Like, it's just
Yeah.
very shallow.
And button
And
mashing.
it kind of surprises me because, like I said, the previous game was so good. And then there's just infuriating boss battles. Like the one battle I'm stuck on now, it's a T-Rex, okay, which is stupid of itself, and it has this really easy pattern, and it just takes a ton of damage to kill. Well, it takes a ton of damage to bring down. Then when you bring it down, it gets revived, and then it has armor over the entire freaking thing,
of
except for a
course.
little spot on its head that you have to hit. And it's just like, why am I wasting my time, like, spending 15 minutes fighting a giant T-Rex in, like, an opera house or whatever the hell it is? It's like...
You should just go replay that part of Bulletstorm.
So it does have a co-op mode, and the co-op mode is basically like an arena survival kind of a thing, except you have like goals you're supposed to do. Like, it tells you like, okay, now you have to kill these guys using this method or kill these guys using that method. It's kind of fun. It's neat to see the hack and slash and ninja stuff, but there's no like co-op abilities. You can revive the guy if they go down, but they're all pretty easy. Like, I haven't hit any. I think there's 8 co-op challenges, and I think I did 6 of them, and I didn't die once.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
and I only had to revive a
And that's
person one
in a
time.
Ninja Gaiden game. That is
Surprising.
Yeah, it's
not
it's
something
just
you should be
weird.
saying.
And they have like all this, like, you can unlock stuff as you play or experience. You know, unlock stuff and this is in the co-op mode, which I guess is more for the game's versus multiplayer mode, which I haven't even touched. So yeah, pretty much a big disappointment there. So other than that, I've been crunch time development for Blue Shield Alliance. So not much.
You know what
gaming.
else? I actually missed a game. I played a bit of last year's Mortal Kombat, and
That's right,
I
said
am
that too.
honestly shocked at how goddamn good that game is.
Yeah, it's a good game.
That was
It
pretty
is-
much like every
Nice.
review ever said that. They're like, we can't believe how good this game is.
Like, the things it does with the story mode are almost unreal.
Yeah.
You know, especially considering what genre it's in.
Yeah.
Just the fact you're basically like watching all these cutscenes in engine, and there's it's Mortal Kombat nonsense, but then the camera will just literally like pull back, and then you're fighting
Yep.
in the middle of
Yeah.
this cutscene, and then it'll zip back in as soon as the fight's over.
Revolutionized story in fighting games. That's why I got my Story of the Year award last year.
Yeah.
You know what else I have been playing off and on is FIFA on the Vita.
Yeah, how is that?
It's awesome. It is the absolute best controlling FIFA there is, and I'll tell you, there's two reasons why. One, it kind of uses things it's learned from like the iPad version, where you can touch for passing locations and stuff like that.
Okay.
On the front screen, which is really slick. But what I really like is the back pad is basically your goal. Okay. So
like
if you want to shoot in the top, no, it's the goal.
What you're
so
aiming
if you
at.
want to shoot, so if you want to shoot in the top right, you want to kind of tap the top right corner of it and aim there. So you can, the longer you hold it, the harder you press it, it's more power and stuff like that. So it's really slick, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. So
nice.
On my Vita, I have a hard time not touching the back screen.
It warns you. So what it does is when you get to the last third of the pitch. If you're touching there, like as you approach it, it has a little icon on the screen to let you know, like, hey, you're touching that part of the thing. You want to make sure your hands are moved. Right. So yeah, it's really well done, and it's basically the full.
Hey! Stop inappropriately touching your.
That's
Vita.
right. That's right.
Look, there was no fingling going on when I was playing FIFA. All right, it was just straight up.
There you
FIFA.
go.
Excellent.
So yeah.
All right. Well, on that note.
I think it's up to you, buddy.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't have
Right,
anything nearly as interesting as
fingle.
fingling or rubbing my Vita.
It's the same thing.
Play Mass Effect 3 Co-op, same as Locke and Nick and everyone. Had a fun time at the Co-op night on Friday night, so thanks again to everyone who showed up for that. The other game I've been playing, not Co-op like Mike actually, is Radiant Historia because, same deal as just wanted to play it last year, missed out on it, and so when they had the reprint, I almost actually thought I wasn't going to get it because they said they were temporarily out of stock on Amazon, and I was like, I missed it again. And then I got the news. Got it.
What system is that on?
DS.
DS.
And does that game have like a shtick, like its thing? Is it like time travel or what is
the
it?
time traveling thing is
it's like Chrono Cross and Chrono Trigger mashed up.
Yeah, because
there's an alternate dimension, but you can there's two alternate dimensions, and you can time travel through any of them.
Cool.
So there's
the story will branch. So the story will branch in certain spots, and you can go back and replay it and go down the other branch. It's pretty sweet.
Okay. Yeah, I know.
And it borrows principles from Doctor Who in the sense that it's not like a straightforward time. So like you may go further in one timeline, and the events that you do in that timeline affect the past or the other timeline. So it's all wibbly wobbly, timey wimey.
I see what you did there.
I see what I did there too. It's really a lot of fun. It's like Mike said earlier. I mean, it borrows a lot from the 16-bit JRPGs and does it well. And the story, particularly, is one that you can follow. And there's a nice lack of zippers on people's clothing, so that's always a plus.
Especially for an RPG.
Yeah, especially for an RPG.
And the characters are almost universally likable.
Yeah, they are. So it's I don't know if they still got any copies left on Amazon or anything like that, but it's probably one of the last remaining solid Nintendo DS releases that you'll probably see come out for that system, unless Atlas decides to release yet another game one system back, as they tend to do.
Yeah. Cool.
So, with that, gentlemen, we are moving on to headlines and news, and maybe one of the big stories from last week that caught my attention at any rate was the Ghost Recon Co-op trailer video that had the Mega 64 guys showing off some of what the co-op looks like in that game. And I mean, aside from the fact that I'm a little hurt that they didn't ask the co-op gaming website to go and play the co-op gaming mode, I thought actually it looked really good. Like I've never played any of the Ghost Recon games. I've seen Mike play a couple, but I watched this and I was like, all right, I got to pick this up and play it because it's looking pretty solid.
Nice.
Yeah, I played that at E3 last year, and they had it set up only in co-op. Actually, you play with 3 other people on the floor, and it was a ton of fun. And they do a couple things where they mix the traditional style gameplay with some more like cinematic set pieces and stuff, and it worked really well. So I know, like a long time ago, we used to, back at another website when I was part of that community, we used to do Tuesday night Ghost Recon nights, and we would play the 16-player co-op mode.
Nice.
Where it's just called Terrorist Hunt, and it's just basically it was kind of like the precursor to survival stuff, except there was no like you just went as long as you could, and we had a lot of fun with that. So I'm anxious to see if they they did announce too. I don't know if you posted it here, but they did announce the game is going to have a survival kind of mode as well.
Yeah, I think
hopefully it'll be because basically what they did in the original Ghost Recons is you can kind of customize the level. You'd pick the level, the number of guys, the kind of weapons they were carrying, how many waves, and you'd go to it. So it was a lot of fun.
Nice.
Yeah, what was that? Gorillas in the Mix, Ghost Recon Future Soldiers Horde mode announced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then
And what they all have in the video, they showed off basically like tagging enemies and reviving squad mates, and they had the quadcopter. A couple of nice, really looking mechanics, I think, too.
Yeah, it should be solid.
So something to look forward to. Starhawk. It's been in beta for what seems like a long time. Here's some rubbing of hands there from Mr. Locke Vincent.
Oh, yeah.
They showed their split screen format, which to me it amazes me. I mean, the only reason I have to call this out is because, hey, someone after at least 6 or 7 games finally decided that if we're going to do horizontal split screen co-op, maybe we should use those little empty black boxes for something.
Took us this long.
Took us that long to figure it out? Yeah.
What was oh god, the first Templar, right?
Yeah.
That used the same thing. It did that split thing, but it put the HUD, it took it off the screen.
Yeah.
And put it to the side like that. So
and I reviewed that game, and I actually listed that as a positive, and I got a bunch of angry people in the comments calling me an idiot for thinking that was a good idea. I'm like, it keeps the aspect ratio of your viewport intact.
And it doesn't cover it up with the graphics. Like
it could be like freaking Uncharted 3 and put a gigantic fucking heart there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that was terrible.
It's pretty jarring though.
Terrible.
Like, the last time I did that with the weird cropping was Resident Evil 5, and I was playing it with my brother-in-law, and we booted it up, and I'll have a big 52-inch TV, and you're like, it's only using half the screen. What the hell is going on? So
Yeah.
It's nice to see that they're doing something with it. And Starhawk looks awesome. Like, it looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah. The other thing from that, though, is they talk about how the local co-op is working, and this has always been, I mean, for any platform, right, whether it's 360 or PS3, has always been one of the big things when it comes to doing that local co-op, and the idea of achievements and progress or trophies and how they get saved. And basically Starhawk came out and said, okay, so any XP that you unlock or that you earn from that game, you still get to keep, but no trophies, character customizations or anything like that. And I think the fact that they at least let you keep the XP on it on your own PSN ID is pretty good. I'm not sure if the others really are something that's feasible to do, but I'm glad to see at least they're making some progress with how to integrate local co-op a little bit more into the bigger gaming cloud, if you will. So, we also had the review from Andrew. Not quite as brilliant as his Journey co-op review, but Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City, which apparently, unless you're playing with 3 other people, should just be avoided like the plague.
Yeah, he kept going back and forth with me on it. Like every day he made it a point to tell me, he's like, man, I'm so disappointed in Raccoon City. It's like, oh god, it's so bad. I think I want to do this with it. Well, maybe it's okay. Nah, this is so bad. That was what he kept. Every day I'd get a new message about it.
It's really disappointing. This was looking to be really cool, and it's just too bad it just falls apart. But
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I have a couple of friends who are press who were playing it, and yeah, the amount of rage coming through their discussion of the campaign was pretty palpable.
It's just, I was excited for a fresh new idea or a different spin on Resident Evil rather than just the same old, there's a bunch of infected here, there's a big bad guy, go deal with it. And it has a ton of cool things going for it with the experience and the different classes and the co-op, and then they go and mess it up. They just screw it up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And it's one of those things too. Like, I'd be really interested in seeing. I mean, I don't know if they'll ever do like a post-mortem with that studio, but I'd be really interested in seeing exactly what happened with it, because, I mean,
Well, did you see the statement from them?
no,
It was something like, as long as one person is satisfied, we feel good about it, or something like that.
that's that's
what the hell
nice.
does that? What does that even mean?
I'm paraphrasing the quote, but
Yeah.
that was basically what it was.
As long as one person liked it, we can.
We've
go
done
to
our
bed at night.
jobs.
That's right. Go home
And I'm
single
sure
our
they sold.
significant others.
I'm sure they sold pretty well because people like Resident Evil. Like,
And there was a big marketing campaign. Like, it
Yeah.
was, if you watched Walking Dead, like, there were commercials like every freaking commercial break
Yeah.
for it. So
And you know, you can't help but wonder, is that where all the money that could have been spent in development went, just to secure those
Yeah, I don't know.
advertising? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see, because it seemed like it had so much potential, and they even delayed the release of it. So, you know, usually you think, okay, if they're delaying something, it means they're trying to spend a little bit more time, work some bugs out. But
of course, it speaks volumes of confidence when they announced the next Resident Evil game before this one came out. So
President Evil,
keep it up, guys.
yeah.
Way to go.
A for the day. Going down the letters of the alphabet, MMO Co-Opportunities from our own Tally Callahan posted this time for Volume 20, Why We MMO, which I think, you know, just kind of as a little piece was interesting to read over, not only as why people do MMO, but kind of as a whole, looking at some of why people do co-op, particularly when it comes around some of these different style co-ops that we're seeing, like with Mass Effect, where you have the different roles and classes and specializations, playing with, you know, finding co-op games that have large groups that allow for more than just 4. So, I don't know, you guys do some MMOs yourselves. What do you? Why do you go online into the great vast world of unbathed?
It's
Sorry.
all about it's all about discovery, and when you can do that with a group of like 4 to 8 people or even more, it's pretty cool when you're, you know, running around the countryside questing and doing that. It's got the best of both worlds of RPGs and multiplayer experience, and it's really neat. And I didn't get heavy into like World of Warcraft or any other MMO. I mostly dabble just to see what they're like, and it's always a good time. And the only reason I don't stick with it is just because don't have the time, don't have the can't do it, because I have that complex where if I'm going to play this, I am going to play the hell out of it. So, you know, the worst it ever got was a Christmas out in the middle of nowhere where I had nothing but my laptop, and it was like, guess we're taking this Tauren to level 80. So, but they're really fun, and people, you know, MMOs do have a bad rap, but they also are one of the most popular genre, if not the most popular genre. But they're a lot of fun. I think it's about that shock and awe and wonder, and being able to pass those stories on between your friend circle and discovering new friends, and doing that on a consistent basis. That still happens with other multiplayer games like, you know, Left 4 Dead, or even, you know, we'll have stories from this Mass Effect game from last week being, oh, you remember that Banshee? But with an MMO, it's just an ongoing storyline, which you can share, which is, you don't find that in any other game or any other genre, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got way into WoW and some other MMOs around the time, and for me, it was a lot about the discovery. It was the entire game world was out there, and just waiting for us to explore it and learn everything about it. And Yeah, I really feel like the genre has lost something for me with the amount of hand-holding that they're shoving into it, and the emergence of
Pandas?
detailed online databases
Pandas?
where it takes all of the mystery out of everything. It's like, I can't find the place to turn in this quest, or I can't figure out how to beat this boss, and so on. And it's, you could just hop online and see the answer right away. And when it's like your own game, like if I'm playing like Skyrim and I'm lost and I look it up, it's one thing because I'm not ruining it for anybody else. But once the game world gets filled with know-it-alls who just spoil everything in the chat or so on, it really.
The thing is too, like part of the charm of them is always, like Locke said, is like discovering the stuff together. So
yeah,
you used to force that social aspect of like, well, I don't know how to do this, maybe someone can help me, and then that person would like kind of show you, or kind of lead you there, and not just outright drop a hyperlink in the chat.
Yeah, and that's basically what WoW became.
Yeah,
it's like, hey, how do you do this? And it's shut up and just go look
Use
on
Google,
Wowhead or whatever.
Yeah, it's too bad because it's become a min-maxing fest where you're just like, I need to get to this level in the minimum amount of time with the best stats and the best gear. Whereas if you, even with, I'm sure, did any of you play Star Wars, Old Republic?
Yep.
Yeah, like if you get in on the ground floor, everyone's like, what the hell is going on? And you still have that sense of discovery, which is cool. So.
And then you have the basement dwelling troll who spent 72 hours since the game's launch playing and is like level 40 before everyone is level 10. And sits there and decries the game on the forums because there's nothing to do without other players.
Of course, but
like you ruined your own experience, buddy. Get a job, sir.
Yeah, I think my time with MMOs came to a close when I was doing a lot of
You
Excel.
really gonna bring this into it?
I was doing a lot of Excel, and for a raid, I designed a Excel graph using stacked bar charts to represent timing of the different classes, of when certain classes should go in and out and all this kind of stuff. And I was putting all the numbers over in the actual spreadsheet so that the graph would show up correctly. I put all that time into it, then it didn't use, and I kind of stopped and realized, why did I ever do that in the first place?
Well, you should have been on the Elitist Jerks forums because those guys love their spreadsheet macros.
Yeah, they do.
I used the rogue itemization spreadsheet that they provided for a very long time.
I have no idea what the hell you two are talking about.
Nerds!
This is all that's going through my mind right now.
I know, that's it's all that's going through my mind too.
Yeah.
So, moving on from MMOs to another announcement
Or lack thereof with MMO.
lack thereof. Epic Mickey, the first one. I think there was at one point some speculation about whether or not it would have co-op, but came out, nothing. And now Epic Mickey 2 been announced, and it will feature co-op. And this time it's going to have drop in, drop out,
and singing.
And the little rabbit guy that looks like Steamboat Willie Mickey.
It's Oswald the Lucky Rabbit.
Dude, don't you know anything, Jason, about Disney lore?
Look, if it's not Goofy or that duck that doesn't wear any pants, I mean, I have not a clue.
Hey, Donald Duck is someone we should aspire to be.
Because he doesn't wear pants, but when
He
he
doesn't
walks
wear
out of the
pants,
shower,
and
he has a towel.
I haven't stood up once this podcast, so
Oh no!
I could be.
Let's not go down this road again.
Could be fingling the whole time.
Oh no!
Anyways, Epic Mickey, it's a good game.
Yeah, that horribly went awry. I don't know. Did any of you guys ever play Epic Mickey, the first one?
Yeah.
Nope.
It's fun.
No.
It's a good game. It's suffered from some game-crushing camera work, but it was a cool idea and had an awesome art style to it. But
so you're looking forward to this?
I was really tired of conspiracy theories, and I didn't feel like it was as good as the original Deus Ex. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's like a once removed kind of wow. Wow.
That's what we call a meta joke.
I know. You get to the end and Epic Mickey's face just kind of like unlocks, and all of a sudden it's JD Denton.
That'd be
What
awesome.
the hell am I doing here?
That would make this game better.
Yeah.
But
But as it is, we'll have to just settle with co-op making it better. And our final little bit of news is for one Mr. Locke Vincent.
and Mike,
It's-
come on. Mike played
Yes.
Dark Souls 2 as well.
I did.
He did. For a brief period of time.
I only played about 20 hours of it.
Yeah, like basically like just scratched the surface.
I know.
He
I know. I haven't
created
played
character
500 like Andrew.
Yeah, but we won't go there.
So, I don't have Facebook, so I can't say for certain whether or not it's been finally revealed or not, but I don't think so last time I heard any check. They've got a mysterious wall that you like until it cracks and breaks open. And, people, of course, are still speculating about whether or not this is the PC port. Which I will say that if it is the PC port, and whenever they bring that over, I may actually play that. I may play the PC port version of it if it's through something like Steam.
So you could mod it.
Yeah, exactly. Turn it to easy mode.
Yeah. If this comes out on PC, I will not be playing it on PC. But
You already played way too much on PS3 to play it on PC.
on Xbox, but it would be cool if they had DLC. I don't know how that would work with Dark Souls. It just seems like I don't want the world to be tempered with. But I am really curious to know what's behind this wall, because for every person that likes the wall, they're like removing a brick from it. But the wall's still up, so if you're out there and you like Dark Souls, let's go like that stupid wall page so we can see what the hell they're doing.
Praise the sun.
Probably just some dude praising the sun. That's it.
That's right. All the bricks go away, and it's actually just Locke's vacation photos from Mexico.
Yeah. Hey.
All right.
Yeah.
I think that wraps it up for us for headlines. Nick, you got anything that you want to talk about real quick?
Does he ever?
Is this where I'm supposed to do another shameless plug?
Insert
there's
your
pretty much a
game
little
here.
Yeah, there's a show note specifically for you.
Okay, so yeah, we put out a new trailer for Blue Shield Alliance, kind of showing some gameplay and some stuff there, which kind of was bad timing on my part because this past, immediately after that was a crunch mode weekend, and I spent about 20 hours on the game, so it looks a lot better now. We have actual real-time lighting on everything, which wasn't there before.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to redo the trailer and put out trailer 1.5 or something. But yeah, it's coming along really well. Trying to get ready for PAX East.
That's right.
And we got these little cool promo cards in. I don't know if
Nice.
you guys can see it. They're blueprints of the ships, and then on the back of them, there's a little thing to scan to enter a contest.
Nice.
I still don't know what we're giving away though. But yeah, so it's coming along really well, and it's just at this point we're kind of just doing content stuff and bug fixes. Most of all of the gameplay elements and other stuff are in there, so it's iteration, optimization, and content.
This is the last Co-Opticast before the game kind of hits the public view and stage. You got anything big or exciting that you want to say before you go take it to PAX East?
He wants to threaten me.
Yeah, get to work, Mike.
That's not unusual whatsoever. I mean,
the only thing I have right now, I'm incredibly nervous about how PAX East goes. I have this big event, not a big event. I have this event planned for Saturday night, kind of inviting some folks too, and I know of about 10 people coming, but ideally I'd like about 5 times that. So it's kind of interesting to be on the other side of this, where I'm competing for people's time, where usually people are competing for my time.
So now you're thinking of all the dirty, underhanded tricks that people have used over the years that you can use them too.
Yeah, I mean, there is
anyone
going to
who
be,
doesn't cover it, he's going to blacklist.
Yeah.
there is going to be free pizza and beer at the shindig. So I mean, that's reason enough to come.
Food and
but-
alcohol.
Well, hell, I'll
Yeah,
be
perfect.
Yeah, no kidding.
But yeah, so we'll see how it goes. I'm pretty happy where the game is though right now. It's very playable, and there's definitely we had a play test 2 weeks ago, and there was definitely lots of moments of fun and
Nice.
stuff. So that was good.
I was
Very
pretty
cool.
disappointed with the real-time lighting in my last build, Nick. So
It's because it didn't exist.
just kidding.
Could you crank that up to
Yeah,
11, please?
colored lighting went out with the Quake 2 engine, Nick. You got to have the real-time stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks.
Could
it
you
looks awesome.
actually stop production and put everything into JavaScript now? Just change it all up.
Yeah.
We're going to
Okay.
make it an HTML5 / JavaScript game, really ride that trend.
I like that. I like that. That sounds good.
Even though, C# and XNA frameworks don't really work like that, we're just going to do that.
That sounds good.
Just port it over.
Just port it over. I pushed the button that says internet.
You sound like my boss.
Yeah, it's every client I've ever had at work.
If
Somebody
you,
gave me a great analogy the other day. It's like, it's kind of like, I need you to build me a car, and it needs to fly to Jupiter by tomorrow. Oh, and it needs to carry this truck inside of it.
Okay.
That's basically like project requirements where I work right now.
Nice.
Yeah,
If you want more
all been
info,
there.
you should go to blueshieldalliance.com.
Ooh,
Check out
thank you.
all of the cool stuff there.
Including information about how to build a car and make it fly to Jupiter.
Yeah.
All right.
It has the answer.
So this week, usually we do our user blogs and talk about that, but someone's been listening to our podcast because we actually got a voicemail.
Nice.
I feel like there should be like some sort of exciting thing here. This one comes from Cyclops, who's on our forums, and he basically asked us what is our favorite co-op / single player game of all time. And some of these answers don't surprise me in the least, and so we will start off with Mr. Locke Vincent there, telling us what his favorite co-op and single player games are.
Okay, my favorite co-op game is
Prepare to be shocked, world.
Dark Souls. Take it. Deal with it. What? What are you going to do about it? Nothing, because it's my time right now.
Lock.
Deal with it.
Yeah, deal with it. We both have the same idea.
Okay, you guys win. You guys win this round.
Deal with the internet. Deal with it.
And then, I hate doing favorite game. Single player game, Shadow of the Colossus.
That's good.
I think that
It's a good game.
It is a good game. It is
So
fun.
It's sad.
It's touching. It's interesting.
It's not as touching as Fingle, but
Can't wait to share a hotel room with you. So you can just
Oh.
Fingle all night.
The last time the Co-Opta crew got together and shared a hotel room, there were some pictures taken.
That will never see the light of day.
Hello, this never leaves my side.
So why? So I mean, out of everything that you've played, sir, everything. Why Dark Souls? Yeah, I know, because we can see your whole game
I
section
know,
there in
I'm
the
just like,
background. You can't exactly
Everything, hey?
hide this from the internet.
It does it differently. I think it gets points. Not only as an awesome just game on its own without the cooperative and sort of versus experience, but adding in that somewhat frustrating element, but also just that whole it adds a whole element to the game that doesn't appear in any other game, except for maybe Journey that just came out, and we might talk about that in a bit, where you don't know, people are so used to being in their world, escaping in their world, and having this secluded bubble. But then Dark Souls and Demon Souls comes along where you can be like, hey, and someone just pokes that bubble, pokes a hole in it.
Someone fingles the bubble, don't they?
That's right. And they can get in, and you can act as a gatekeeper, or sometimes you don't get a choice and people enter your game, or you can summon help. And it's this, because it's such a difficult game, I do give it props for not taking any chances and just saying, yep, this is going to be a hard-ass game. It forces you to get help, and it forces you to explore with another person, and all the while you're playing Dark Souls, you for the first, I would say, month, I was always talking about it. That's all we were talking about, being like, oh, did you get to this part? Yeah, I need help here. And because it's, some people see it as a detriment and not explaining anything to you, I think it's one of the more stronger things where you are asking questions, and it goes back to when you were playing old school games and being like, there wasn't the internet, there wasn't, there was those hotlines you could call and be like, $2.99, I need to figure out how to beat this boss. Okay, go. My mom's gonna catch me. But it forces you to ask those questions and converse, because people don't know what's going on in the world for for the first couple weeks, but then once it's on a wiki, it's kind of ruined. But if you eliminate,
but even in a game like Dark Souls, when it's out on the wiki, it's so damn challenging that I know how to beat this boss, I just can't do it.
It might be impossible. So I just give it such props for doing something different with the multiplayer experience, and something that I've never seen before. You're not inviting people in as sometimes when you're trying to do a video series where you want to have the same people with you, and that's not always the case. It can be frustrating, but I really appreciate that they, went and did that and made this totally different multiplayer experience. The same, I can say the same things for Demon Souls. I just think Dark Souls is a better game. That's why. So.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right, Nick.
I have a toss-up for favorite co-op, and it's kind of like new school versus old school kind of a thing.
So
but
one's
if
Blue
I had to go with
Lions, and
now if I had to go with a newer game, it would probably be I guess Halo Reach.
Nice.
Just in terms of everything it offered and the co-op campaign, and I really enjoy the lore and stuff in those games and stuff like that. So, but I think in terms of just sheer amount of ridiculous fun I've had in co-op would be Duke Nukem 3D, like back in the day, like lugging my PC to my buddy's house and setting up a freaking null modem cable and stuff, and like accidentally killing each other with pipe bombs and trip mines while we're trying to play through the campaign and stuff. Like that was just, it was just retarded fun, and it was good stuff. So, like, was that a good co-op game? No, not really, but it was some of the most fun I've had in co-op.
Yeah, it gave you the best experience back in the day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm surprised that you didn't say? I was
What's
fully
that?
expecting you to say the game that you always pull out for these things, which is Smash TV.
Smash TV is a lot of fun, but in terms of like,
it's pretty limited.
Yeah, it's just like it's like a cookie.
Yeah,
it's great. It's not a fine cake.
It's not a decadent
in terms
piece
of single player
chocolate.
games, I'd have to just go by series and say Civilization is by far my favorite.
Nice.
Generally, it's like Civ 2 was up there. Civ 3 was okay. Civ 4 and 5 I really enjoy. I can play those games for forever and not get bored.
The Day Killers.
Yeah, I mean they really do.
Just one more turn. Why is it 2 a.m.?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I was supposed to get dressed today. Darn.
All right, Mike.
I actually recently wrote an article about this for Co-op Classics. For me, I'm gonna cheat here and go put 2.
Oh.
Secret of Mana is
Yeah, I
my
was
favorite
laughing 'cause
co-op
as
game.
Nick was sitting there saying it's a toss-up. I saw Mike go back to the document. Toss-up.
Yeah, no, Secret of Mana is my favorite co-op game because as a huge like Squaresoft fan back in the Super Nintendo era, and Secret of Mana was just a really fun game. It was unbeknownst to me, it was a sequel to a game that I really liked on Game Boy, with Final Fantasy Adventure. Yeah, I just like that type of action game, and just the revelation that you could play a big ass adventure like that and have the huge story, and just bring a friend or two along. I mean, the fact that you could have 3-player co-op in that game was amazing. In a time when if you had more than 2 players, it was usually because you're playing Bomberman, not because you're playing a co-op game.
Yeah.
And it really harkened back to because back then there weren't that many 4-player co-op games. I mean, you had like Gauntlet, and that was about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really love that. But the co-op game I've probably played the most out of any game I could think of has got to be Diablo 2.
Oh,
Just
yeah, good call.
endless item runs. Playing on Battle.net. When I was in college, it basically completely overtook my entire dorm complex. Everyone was playing Diablo 2
Everyone?
nonstop. Yeah, everyone. Yeah. But yeah, so Diablo 2, just because the large number of ways you could build your characters, just the seemingly infinite amount of items that you could find, and just if you ever get bored, just start a new character.
Yeah.
So I played a lot of that, and my favorite single player game is Final Fantasy VI because it is awesome.
I debate with you only to the fact that you could play that co-op.
You could play it co-op in the same way you could play Final Fantasy IV co-op, in that there's one set of inputs, and you could have it alternate between which controller it had you pick from, but there was really it really wasn't co-op.
No.
Especially considering 90% of the time you're just mashing the attack button. Or at the very least setting the cursor to memory and spamming Ultima once you have the economizer and gem box and all that. And yeah, so yeah, that's and I could also put Chrono Trigger there, but I think over time I am edging it to Final Fantasy VI.
Oh, I see what you did there. Get it? Over time.
Yeah.
I like that. I like
Yeah.
that.
Well, it's time to move on, and
What about yours?
mine real quick is Secret of Mana for a lot of the same reasons as Mike, and largely actually it's because when Secret of Mana came out, that was...
Oh no!
What?
Spaceman!
They were so good, it wiped them off the face of the
These
internet.
games are too good that they broke the internet.
Yeah, okay. I'm back now.
All right.
You guys good?
Yeah, you're
Yeah, we're fine. It was all you, buddy.
Yeah, I know. So anyways, so when Secret of Mana came out, I was basically heading over to Mike's house and was playing that game with him for, a good chunk of it. And good memories, fun memories of playing through that and being able to kind of discover the story and everything like that with him. For single player, there's a lot of really good single player games, but the one that I really have fond memories of, and I've never ever beaten, and I keep coming back to it trying to beat, though, is Shadowrun. That was out on the SNES, and
It's a good one.
I really want to see another game come out that's kind of in that same vein with that same setting and story, because the first-person shooter that they did, I know Nick was a fan, but
it's good, but it's not Shadowrun.
yeah,
Right. And I was actually a huge player of the Shadowrun pen and paper game.
Oh, really?
In college.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, didn't Smith and Tinker buy the rights back to that with the MechWarrior stuff?
Yeah, I believe they actually... I've been out of the game forever, but I think they may have put a new edition of it out.
Okay.
I played the Genesis one, and Shadowrun is one of my favorite series ever. I never played the pen and paper, but if I ever made a game, I would make a Shadowrun clone or find out how to get the rights to it.
Yeah. And it's just the setting is so ripe for anything.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
Like you can tell any
It
number
is.
of stories in that setting.
yeah.
It is. So there you go, Cyclops. That is the Co-Opticast crew's favorite co-op and single-player game. And we're gonna wrap up things tonight talking about Journey for just a little bit here. As we brought up in the last one, the review that Andrew did was a very kind of different review that we have, and started off with just pictures from the game, and then pictures and a couple words, and Nick was like, yeah, probably need to actually have something there.
Listen, you existential bastard, do some writing.
Existential.
It's one of those
bald-headed
things
bastard.
where it was kind of funny, that story, because I hadn't played it yet. And then once I played it, I knew exactly why he went down that road.
Yeah.
And
So I'll say for my part, I played it actually just before this. Like, I basically came home, downloaded it, played through it. So yes, I mean, it is like an hour and a half, 2 hours in terms of playing it. In that hour and a half to 2 hours, I can safely say I've never had a co-op experience like that. And it's one that, as people say, there's no communication with your partner. They're just kind of there.
you can chirp at him.
You can chirp. Well, what the hell does a chirp mean, man?
It could mean anything.
It could mean anything. So, anyways, there I was just wandering around, minding my own business, and all of a sudden there was someone there next to me. And I developed such an attachment to that person in a way that I've never developed an attachment to anything else in another co-op experience. Like, playing through Gears Horde mode or anything else like that, and someone else is there and they die, I'm like, okay, we'll revive them or we lose the wave. When that co-op partner got attacked by something, I was genuinely concerned. And when he disappeared because I guess the connection died or who knows what, I was sad. I was like, there goes my buddy. And keep going. I'm just like, is he going to come back? Is there going to be someone else? I mean, it's really tough to describe, and it's absolutely worth experience.
I think I had probably the best possible experience you can have with Journey. I downloaded it. I started
fingled.
playing, and we fingled, and then we doppeled, and then we fingled some more. I had, because there's a little bit of an introductory area, and then there's the first area where you can actually meet somebody, and I met someone almost instantly, and we played through the entire game together.
Oh,
I had
nice.
the same partner from the first moment I met another person until the very end, and it's like Jason said, it's amazing how attached you get to your co-op partner, because they're, not to spoil much, but there are moments in the game where you can be attacked, and it was just my buddy got hit and was like, oh my god, I have to go over and do something. I know I can't do anything because all you can do is you can jump and you can chirp at them with the the little button, and it's just genuine concern. And some of the later moments of that game when your characters are going through an extreme hardship, and how the things it does with the camera, and playing with the cinematic angles and pushing in, and the music, it's just this total emotional gut punch that hits you at a part of that game, and you just don't get experiences like that in too many games, and it's hard to call it co-op because except with a few occasions in the game, you're really not doing anything but walking forward.
It's super important, though.
But you're having an adventure with somebody else, and it's like what we were talking about with MMOs earlier. It's like, I don't know what's ahead, and I've got my buddy here, and we're just gonna go. We see that mountain on the horizon, and we're gonna get to it.
Yeah.
And I think for what that game company has been trying to do with games since they first started making them, I think they actually finally did it.
Yeah.
It's like because everyone's like, oh, Flower is so beautiful and emotional, and like, Flower is a bad 6-axis tech demo with really pretty graphics and music. But Journey actually feels like it feels like that artistic statement that people look for in games. Like I played this game, and I think if you don't have some kind of emotional response to it, you have no heart.
So with that, let's turn it over to a heartless person. Nick, what'd you think?
Well, yeah, that's actually pretty good because I probably had the worst experience with it because at the when you beat it, it tells you who you played with, and I think I had 7 different co-op partners.
XX
through the whole
Penis
thing.
Lord XX.
Exactly. He freaking reared his ugly head and
Literally.
I don't know. Like it's cool, but again, it's not a game in my opinion. There's no challenge at all. Like you can't die. There's no puzzles really. I mean, there's kind of a few areas where like, okay, I kind of have something to do here. That said, like the stuff that is there and some of the ideas that are there are kind of addictive. Just like collecting the little flappy things and making your guy fly farther and that kind of stuff. That
Who
kind of
has
stuff
the
I find
longest
addictive.
scarf?
And the cool thing with the co-op is you can play off of each other and like use you kind of charge each other's power up, so you can reach places I think you can't reach if you're by yourself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty cool, and I like that you can't talk to the other person as much as
That's the I think the most important thing about this game.
yeah, because it makes you put your own voice to what's going on and kind of tell your own story to it.
Not only that, but I think it's really important because if you look at every other game, whether it's a competitive versus or a co-op game, and as soon as you put a name to a voice or even just a name, people assume things no matter what.
Yeah.
And they're going to assume things. And because that game company has eliminated all that, they've made it a true co-op experience where you feel for that other person no matter what. You want to, it's like, the analogy I really like is instead of walking into a mall and like being like, hey, I want to play with this crew over here or that crew, or okay, let's go fight those guys. It's like going on a hike, and it is a journey, and you go on this hike, and as soon as you discover someone else, it's like the most exciting thing ever. And you're like, oh man, okay, let's go on this hike together. And you're hiking towards this mountain, and because you can't talk, and because you don't know what their name is or anything about them, it could be a 10-year-old kid or a 80-year-old woman, and it doesn't matter. The emotion that it evokes from me as a player and the person I'm playing with, it might be two different things, but you're together on that journey. And I think that in itself is really important for this game and really important in terms of a co-op experience, because you're putting aside all sort of connotations that I think plague this generation of games, which you can't say that about any other game.
And
I think what's kind of funny about the whole thing, we talk about the mountain.
Yeah.
It's interesting how the game basically, okay, you start out, you're looking at the mountain, you're like, well, shit, I got to go there.
Oh, yeah.
Why? Nobody knows. You're kind of inferring it, and that's what draws you to go. You're like, okay, I got to see what's on the mountain. Got to get to the mountain. Let's go to the mountain.
When I first picked up and played, I saw the mountain, and I turned right around and walked the other way. And just to see like where the limits of the game, and it does like invisible walls because it'll blow you back and put you back to go and do things. But yeah, I mean it is interesting how it's just kind of this.
It just you're just like, I got to go to the mountain.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know why you're drawn to that mountain, but you are. You got to go.
It's just, I think that's just human nature.
I guess.
and it plays upon. I mean, like once you actually kind of go through and see some of the story. It is interesting. It's the same kind of deal where it plays upon that same gamer mentality and logic, the same way I think like in BioShock, when you got this sort of big reveal in BioShock, you kind of are just like, okay, you're playing upon gamers here a little bit and what they kind of respond to and why they do certain things.
Yeah.
I know when I was so when I played it tonight, I mean, it's interesting though. Even though we sit here and talk about it, and I felt like it was just going to be spoiled because I know this, it's someone who I don't know. I know what the trick is, and so the first time I saw someone, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, and I was like, okay, let's see what happens. But I didn't really care or feel anything about them. And there's one section in there where you're skating down sand and you pass by some arches with the setting sun in the background. I mean, it is a beautiful piece. And just out of nowhere, my partner and I just start skating back and forth, like, between each other, like, kind of doing one of these things, and we're hopping it up at, like, the same time. And it's that perfect sort of two people who play games just synchronizing. There's no word spoken, there's nothing, it's just like, we just started doing that. And we both picked up on it, we did it, and that's when I suddenly developed this attachment to this random person who turned out to be, I don't know, Thug Life or whatever it was in terms of the PSN ID. But it didn't matter. It didn't matter. Like, as Locke said, when you get a name, once you suddenly have some identifying characteristic, there are assumptions made. And with all that gone,
whether it's a name or a
gamers can
voice.
just be gamers. Like, and I think that's what really this helps you, is you can just do the kind of things that you want to do in games, but you feel sometimes constricted by because you have a name or someone hears you talk. So, $15. It is only like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and that's the biggest debate about it. But I think I personally feel it's completely worth it.
Think of it like going to a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Paying for a movie ticket. Do it.
Or if you're like Nick, seeing an art installation.
Right.
Paying to go to the art museum,
Yeah.
because we could debate whether it's a game or not.
That's right.
But it is awesome. It is something that everyone should check out, and especially if you're a connoisseur of co-op, because it is basically pure co-op.
And as a connoisseur of co-op, you of course sit around in your co-op robe, sipping on Cavassier.
Yes, with my brandy snifter.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah.
I think that's going to wrap it up for us for this episode of the Co-Opticast. As always, we have the Windows Phone 7 and Android apps that you can go and download on your phones. Get stuff from cooptimus.com. We do have some shirts up there still on Split Reason that are available for sale. We, of course, love your feedback on iTunes, and you can follow us on Twitter at Co-Optimus. If you want to be cool, like Cyclops, get your question read and get us to answer it, please do call and leave a voicemail for us. That number is 646-926-6748. We even like the voicemails where you just tell us that we're cool, because apparently we had one of those, so thanks for that. For myself and Locke, Mike, and Nick, thank you guys for listening. Have a great night.
Bye.